प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So today we'll be having this new lecture, Flourishing in Bhakti, and I will be, there will be Telugu translation also. I mean, subtitle will be there, so devotees can see Telugu and English both. We'll just try for today. It's audible?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Some devotee has not muted. Okay, thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So part 2. The image you see on the screen is a cut and paste from a Back to Godhead article about Jiva Goswami. The title of the Back to God article was "The Greatest Scholar and Philosopher." I had an understanding that Tamahar Prabhu would be giving an overall introduction to Jiva Goswami, so I don't have to do that. Although there's so many nice things to say. And the topic of the Sandarbhas, here's an additional detail about Jiva Goswami. It is said about Jiva Goswami that he composed his writings, 400,000 verses, it's initially in his mind. He had that kind of didactic memory that he could compose something and then later write it down. So Rupa Goswami did something quite similar with Lalita Madhava and Didagda Madhava. He composed those two literatures in his mind and then later wrote them down. But, the capacity of the Goswamis and these most elevated Vaishnavas is they didn't have a computer. They had memories. And they didn't have to, edit. It just once written, that's it. No, Rupa Goswami made requests. Sanatana Goswami made requests of Jiva Goswami to edit things that they had written if Jiva Goswami found some better way to state something or something like that. So there was some editing going on, but this is the type of acumen that these great acharyas had, Jiva Goswami being one of them. And I decided, rather than covering multiple, I'm just going to take part of one Anucheda, number 141. And the heading of that Anucheda, this is not Jiva Goswami's writing, it's a commentator's summary. Bhakti alone causes Bhagavan to bestow rati upon his devotees, or his devotee. So that's the headline, that's the banner. I'll say it again, because the next line that comes right in the commentary it says it the other way around. So please note, it'll go back and forth so you can catch the distinction. Bhakti causes Bhagavan to bestow rati. Now, rati is a word that's used by our acharyas that's synonymous with bhava, so bhava bhakti and rati, one-to-one exchange of meaning. Bhakti alone, one more time. Bhakti alone causes Bhagavan to bestow. So Bhagavan bestows rati upon the devotee. And then conversely, Bhakti bestows rati for Bhagavan. Let's do that one again. Bhakti alone causes Bhagavan to bestow rati. So who bestows what? So it's connected with how does bhakti begin. So bhakti begins by receiving bhakti from a bhakta. With a seed from someone who's carrying bhakti, they can bestow the seed. And the seed grows, and the seed grows, and the seed grows. And when the seed grows, when bhakti becomes sufficiently mature, the seed grows to a substantial stature, then Bhagavan Bhakti bestows Bhagavan Rati for Bhagavan. Bhakti bestows love for Bhagavan. Then he begins this Anucheda by making reference to a verse that's shown from the picture. It's a chapter 7 of Canto 7. Where Prahlad is giving instructions to his classmates. In Anucheda 57, he quotes the verse. And then in 141, he quotes the verse. So here's what he says. Jiva Goswami writes in Anucheda 57. Without relying upon any other system for purification, bhakti alone has the power to uproot the seed of karma. Fruitive activity. So the 6, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarja, those 6 are in the category of the seed of karma. So karma tendency, the seed for those 6, bhakti alone, without relying upon any other thing, has the power to uproot them. That's what this 7:733 verse is saying. Devotees who have uprooted the seed of karma do not give up their involvement in devotion even after attaining the perfected stage. In fact, such devotees do not do anything other than bhakti. So it's the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's something very similar. Something very similar is in Sanatana Shiksha section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where, similar to the morning discussion, Lord Chaitanya is discussing with Sanatana Goswami the bhakti process, and he starts the bhakti process by describing the samasti, the sum total of all living entities. And in some of those sum total of all living entities, some come to the human form of life, so it's a pyramid. And that those in the human form of life, some are civilized. And then those that are civilized, they follow the varnashram system. Then the pyramid keeps going up and up. And then amongst those who are following the varnashram system, some may become devotees. And then he explains in detail, becoming a devotee means one gets the association of a devotee. And then verses and verses and verses to verify. And then he keeps going up and going up. And then the perfected stage, Lord Chaitanya says, and in that perfected stage, association devotees is still imperative. It's not an option. It's imperative, which is similar to what's being said here. So 7:733 is the verse. I'll show you the verse shortly. Quoted in Anucheda 57, and then Anucheda 141 is going to say something else in addition. But bhakti causes bhakti. And bhakti has the power to uproot anything in the material sphere. It is bhakti alone that is then enacted by them. So that's 57. Here's the verse. And the Shad Vargai, that's the 6 faults. Evam Nirjita Shad Vargai, Kriyate Bhaktir Ishware, Vasudeve Bhagavati, sounds familiar. Yaya Samlabhyate Ratihi, so there's the Ratihi. If anyone prosecutes his devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, that's how Prabhupada has translated it in the both in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, and the same verses referred to in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the same translation. So the emphasis, because the color coding means, I wanted to focus this class on what does in full Krishna consciousness mean? What does that mean? What does it not mean? And it's in Anucheda 141, what it means and what it doesn't mean. In full Krishna consciousness, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, then gradually he develops rati. Now, it's not covering this because it's in another Anucheda, but in the Bhagavatam, the very next verse, that is 7.734, in Prahlad's teachings to his classmates, he speaks of Bhava Bhakti. One who achieves what's in 33 reaches Bhava Bhakti. And the symptoms of hair standing on end and body trembling and the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti are manifest in the person described in verse 33. So it's very important to execute devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. And what does it mean? So Jiva Goswami, spends a fair amount of pages in this Anucheda about what does bhakti without laxity mean, or in full Krishna consciousness. In full means without laxity. Madhumati asked a similar question in the Bhagavatam class yesterday morning. Not exactly that, but something similar. What about people that stop? That's more than laxity. That's stop. That's stop. So laxity is you diminish. So then it's like from, even in the sadhana stage, the sadhaka that's in full consciousness of Krishna is without laxity. Bhakti without laxity. And to illustrate this, he gives several examples. Here's one example. This is a nice painting of Krishna, and he's with the Pandavas. And here's the verse. I'll read the translation because it's a nice translation. Verse number 18, chapter 6. So it's Shukadeva Goswami speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. My dear king, here's the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasty. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he worked just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. So this is Jiva Goswami being the lawyer building his case. And the case is this: it's rare Bhava bhakti is rare, sudurlabha. It's one of the characteristics of the three stages, Rupa Goswami's teaching, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. Three broad topics. So this is touching on the bhava bhakti stage, but to get to the bhava bhakti stage, there has to be in full Krishna consciousness or with no laxity. So here's the commentary on that verse that we just read. Sometimes Bhagavan does not award rati or bhava in cases where there is some laxity of intention. Within the sadhaka. Now think about the practical application of this, like chanting our japa every day, or anything else that we do in our activities of devotion aside from chanting japa every day. And we always do something because we're active, souls are active. And then there's an intention behind what we do. So we're sadhakas, so the activity is in relation to sadhana bhakti. So we're in the sadhana bhakti stage, but there may be laxity. Intermittent, sometimes. That's laxity. So Bhagavan does not award rati sometimes in cases where there's laxity of intention. And then Jiva Goswami goes on to explain, however, Bhagavan may, even when there's laxity, may eventually award rati even to the practitioner who was initially lax in his devotion if he continues to perform bhakti for a long time, if he gradually overcomes his laxity. Small if, right? So that there's a price for entrance into bhava bhakti, or to what real bhakti is, as opposed to what it looks like real bhakti, but it's not what real bhakti is. Back to the definition of what bhakti really is. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, without jnana and karma. And the BBT to purport to this verse 5, 6, 18. In this way, one's life becomes perfect, and his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. Now this is, it's 7:733 purport. So this is Prabhupada's purport, 7:733 purport. By following in full Krishna consciousness, his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. Provided this without laxity. That's Jiva Goswami's contribution, main message here. Then he goes on, making reference to the definition of Bhava Bhakti, and it has two characteristics, and one of them is Sudurlabha. This is directly from his Jiva Goswami's explanation, but it's directly a quote from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti is difficult to attain in two ways. First of the two, if undertaken in abundance but without genuine attachment to Krishna, Bhava Bhakti cannot be attained, even after a long time. Sound familiar? Second, difficult to attain. Even if practiced with such attachment, Krishna does not award bhakti with rati to the practitioner immediately. Patiently. So Rupa Goswami's teaching, or Raghunath Das Goswami's teaching, you know, persistently. It's all of the teachers of the teachings of yoga, what to speak of bhakti yoga, requires that one stays focused for a prolonged period of time without an expectation. How do you do that? We expect that without an expectation, the bell's going to ring. We have that. Otherwise, why are we doing what we're doing? We have faith, but faith is not resting upon, some icing on the cake or carrot at the end of the stick or something. It's rare. Then Jiva Goswami goes on.
Very beautiful and very helpful lecture for the devotees. Yeah. Any comments, questions from the devotees? Sharvari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhu Sharvari Mataji just raised a hand. Is it okay if I take her question first? Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The lecture started with a very beautiful line which Maharaj was repeating time and again. Bhakti alone causes Bhagavan to bestow Rati, and Bhakti bestows love or Rati for Bhagavan. So that I liked. And also about Jiva Goswami. He wrote 1 lakh verses. So that was amazing. And all through memory without any computer or anything. So that again was very amazing. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Chandan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, as today's class was very nice. So one question is there, Prabhu. Maharaj was mentioning, as Mataji just repeated that, so I will not repeat it. Bhakti bestow love or Rati for even Bhagwan. So one thing I can understand, Bhakti is bestowing Rati in devotee's heart for the Bhagwan. That is okay, but which kind of love is like being bestowed in the heart of Bhagwan? Because he is all reservoir, everything he has. Little bit I need some more clarity on this point. And the second is, bhakti alone has power to uproot the seed of karma. And Maharaj is also saying ki, it doesn't mean that the devotee leaves all the karma, he continues in the devotional service. So what I understand, the act of the devotee and a normal person is not different. Only the intention is different. Because cooking happens in even the devotee house, cooking happens in non-devotee house. But in devotee's house, it becomes the devotional service. So that this bhakti here Maharaj is mentioning, that's changing the intent, like changes the intention of the karma, because without doing karma we cannot live. So what does it mean, like only devotional services? Because he has to live on the earth and he has to do something, and if he is doing something, then he has to transform his act in such a way that it is preferable for the Krishna, means it is going to transfer in the same act, it's going to be transferred as a devotional service. So that mindset he is talking about, or I need some more clarity on this point also.
Okay. So first question is that the Bhagavan bestows Rati or Bhava to Bhakta, and conversely, the Bhakti also bestows Bhagwan for love for Bhagwan. So in that, what is your question is that how it can create lava in Bhagwan? Is that your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, means like he is a reservoir of everything.
Ah.
Uh,
No, my understanding is that my understanding of that particular statement is that Bhagwan bestows rati or bhava on devotee, and then conversely, the devotee uh, uh, this bhakti also what is that generate or produces lava for Bhagwan. So I think he's talking about the lava in the heart of a devotee for Bhagwan. That is my understanding. We'll check with
then the two statements become again same.
no. He's okay. We can check for the devotees. So maybe we'll take this statement first. We need other devotees to clarify this point.
Or maybe like I need to understand these two lines. What is the difference between
Sure,
these two
sure,
lines?
sure, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, Ashok Prabhu, you raised hand maybe to answer this question. Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Maybe a little bit. So I like one point, Prabhu, like becoming devotee means actually one is getting more association. So if he's getting more association means like qualities are increasing to become a devotee. And one more thing is Maharaj mentioned like until your laziness is gone, bhakti will not be provided. Like rati will not be provided. But Jeva Goswami told again, if you are continuously doing the same with laziness, one day it will automatically change. So means automatically he will give the potential to change that kind of laziness or laxity, so that we can get the ultimate power. So that is I like Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I'm okay. Here, one more point. I don't think that maybe we can check the recording that automatically we will get sincerity or automatically the laxity will go. That statement maybe I might skip, but I didn't come across.
Yeah, automatic. That word is not used, but long term, if you are doing means somewhat. Yeah, so I understood like this. So maybe we'll see. Thank you.
Okay, one more doubt we have then. Shabri Mataji and then Chandrakeshwar Prabhu. Yes, Shabri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm just trying to answer what Chandan Prabhu's question regarding Bhakti bestows love rati for Bhagavan. My understanding is when someone is a pure devotee, the devotee's want is nothing but to serve just Krishna, and this intention itself is very pleasing to Bhagavan. So probably that is what causes love in Bhagavan's heart. So that is what I understood in this statement. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Chandrakeshwar Prabhu, you had raised hand. Yes, Prabhu.
It is Prabhu. What Ashok Prabhu was mentioning, right? That is not automatically. It is gradually overcomes that laxity. Prabhu.
Okay, so without devotees putting the effort for laxity, it will go since he is practicing. Is that
Yeah, if he practice a long time, that laxity will be overcome gradually. Thank you.
Maybe Prabhu, adding to that, actually, maybe it may purify. If you're practicing even though with laziness, maybe it purifies our heart. Then we'll change to that level. So that is one point.
Prabhu, I will, Ashok Prabhu's statement, I will just clarify because I don't think this was what Maharaj was mentioning here. Sorry, devotees, if you are feeling little annoyed by this, but this is the statement, Ashok Prabhu, right? That's what you said, no? This is the slide,
Yeah,
right?
yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's 5.6.18 Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So here it says that Srila Jiva Goswami adds that Bhagwan may eventually award rati even to the practitioner who was initially lax in his devotion if he continues to perform bhakti for a long period and then if he gradually overcomes this laxity. Okay. Okay, so maybe here because he's putting effort for a long time, he will gradually come out of the laxity. But end of the day, he has to come out of the laxity. Yeah, that is the important thing. Then only will be rati from Bhagwan. Correct, Prabhu? That's what, right? We are on this understanding, right? The laxity has to go.
Yes, yes, bro.
Correct.
Okay.
But without we have to put the effort, but it's also kind of mercy, so that we will understand him and we will release that laxity. Or so that is also there.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So we still have questions from Chandan Prabhu open, the first question. Any other devotee? Kumarika Mataji would like to share some thoughts, at least for the first point from Chandan Prabhu, the understanding.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It is our efforts which will bring the mercy of the Lord. Without the Lord is going to award the Bhava Bhakti. We are not going to attain it by ourselves. That was one message which was very clear, that the Lord will choose to award the Bhava Bhakti to the sadhaka. So, but it is the bhakti with which we, the sincere efforts which will create that feeling of love in the Lord's heart, and he will award the Bhava Bhakti. That is how I have understood, Prabhu. Effort will bring mercy, our sincere efforts.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as you were telling about this overcoming the laxity, this term laxity in bhakti was used by Maharaj in a previous lecture, wherein he said there are 5 different causes for the laxity in bhakti. Starting with Kautilyam, and then losing our faith, and all that. It is a cascade of serious events which follow with that duplicity. So that all those things have to be taken care of when we are doing bhakti. That Jiva Goswami is defining, you should do bhakti under the guidance of the spiritual master in full Krishna consciousness. That is with focus. So when all the other things like that Kautilyam and other then that will lead to the lack of faith in what we are doing and things like that. Then only the laxity can be covered. It is not just prolonged period of time you are doing the same quality of bhakti, half-hearted, that's not going to fetch results. But if we are taking care of avoiding such 5 things he told, like Chatilyam and all that, I have forgotten half of it, Prabhu. But this specific term laxity was used there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, even Maharaj in some other context or different place, he would say that if you do in autopilot mode, it's going to take a lot of time, very long time. So we have to put conscious effort, what are the blockers that we have. Thank you, Mataji, for reiterating that. Raghuraman Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just had a question. This is more like something which I may seem very ignorant. What is this rati and what is this laxity? I think I'm able to at least make out from what Mataji said. It's more about not consistently doing and more about related to laziness. But what is rati and in what context, Prabhu?
Yes, you are right about the laxity. Like we just sometimes drop our cards or we become loosen up, something like that. Yeah, for Rati, we have very senior devotees. Yugal Kishore Prabhu, would you like to throw some light on this?
Um, Hare Krishna Prabhu. So if you see bhakti, it has a stages and it begins with Adav Shraddha. And that is what the Rupa Goswami gives in Nectar of Devotion. And Chaitanya Charitamrita also mentions about that. So it begins with the Adav Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. So with the elementary faith, one comes in contact with the devotee association. And when they come in contact with devotee association, Maharaj always says, what they do? Bhajana Kriya. And when one start practicing devotional service, and then the biggest step, the longest step is Anartha Nivrutti. When one overcomes all the obstacles, anartha nivrutti, which has no meaning towards the ultimate goal, which has the kama, krodha, lobha, mad, moha, matsarya. And then eventually we'll have steadiness, and then we have asakti, then ruchi, and then we have bhava, which is rati here mentioned. So the affection for Lord Sri Krishna, that absolutely even the moksha laguta kruta, even the liberation seems to be very insignificant when one develops such affection or love for Krishna, that we have absolutely no taste for any other activities than pleasing Krishna. So that is the so bhava or rati is the stage where one get the first ray of prema. Now after bhava, there is a prema, and then eventually there is a mahabhava. So that's different, but here it is said up to prema. So prema also had some stages, which has a bhava. Then so the stages after prema is bhava, then mahabhava, and then yesterday as we are celebrating Radhastami, Radha is this embodiment of that mahabhava. So if I understood correctly here, so rati here is mentioned as the equivalent to the bhava in these things, or affection for Krishna. Does that help, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu. Definitely gives some clarity at least, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Prabhu, the point Ashok Prabhu was saying that if somebody practices devotional service long period of time, so it automatically, so there is nothing word comes automatically. We have to put endeavor. And if somebody is practicing bhakti, that itself means that, so now it's not only the mechanical bhakti, regular bhakti or pure bhakti, or one practices according to the rules and regulations. Sadhaka means according to the rules and regulations given. The impetus is scriptures, the impetus is instruction coming from spiritual master. And when one practices with that, definitely it has a potency to take to that. And that is where, if you see the two things in Sudurlabha, there are two characteristics, and which is also the question of Chandan Prabhu. The first is that sadhana without asakti. So if practiced for a longer period of time, if one does not have attachment or rati to Krishna, bhakti cannot be attained. So even if we are, and Chaitanya Charitamrita also mentioned that even if you are chanting for longer millions of lifetime Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but if you do not have affection, that you will not come to the stage of Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. The next is that, so if there is no Asakti, no Bhava. And the next is that even if we have Asakti, Krishna does not give Bhava Bhakti so quickly because it's a Sudurlabha. So the second point was that first, with the bhakti, we will develop love or asakti for Krishna. And second thing is that a reciprocation from Krishna will also have to happen, that right? Because it's not independent, just we keep doing. There is a bhakti, and because when we say Krishna is a person, so the Krishna is a person means there is a reciprocation from Krishna as well. It's not that only one way. Any exchanges, there is has to be both the ways, and the person who gives and the person who receives, there is a reciprocation. So Chandan Prabhu in the second stage means Krishna also reciprocates equally to that devotee. This is my understanding. The first is that devotee expresses his love for Krishna. Second is Krishna reciprocates with that. And that does not happen at even if one has a vow. So Krishna is independent, he's a swarat. It does not mean that if I have asakti for Krishna, Krishna will automatically give. No, it is that even if practiced without attachment, Krishna does not give bhav bhakti so quickly. And that is why bhakti is a sudurlabham. So even if Mother Yashoda trying to bind, unless and until Krishna reciprocates with Krupa Shakti, she was not able to bind. So it has to have both the things, our effort, Krishna's mercy. And the second point is that first is our love for Krishna. Second point is Krishna's love for us. It's not that it loves it. Our bhakti develops love within Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. He does not need anything. He's a swarat. He's independent. Thank you, Prabhu. Chanda Prabhu, does that help you or?
Yes, Prabhu, I understood. I understood now the lines, both the lines. And what about that second question, Prabhu? Bhakti alone has power to uproot the seed of karma. Even yesterday I was reading Nectar of Devotion. So there it was like it was Srila Prabhupada has explained about the seed of the like reactions of the karmas, prarabdha karma, kutam, bijam, all those things. And here the another statement is that even the seed of the karma is eradicated by the bhakti. So that I wanted to understand what does it mean actually.
The question that you actually began asking that if we have to live in this material world, we have to perform karma, right? That if we stop karma, how can we live here? But
Yes, yes.
we understand from Bhagavad Gita 3.9, yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhan tadartha karma kaunte mukta sangha samachar. That is the seed of this answer to your question, Prabhu. It is said that it is not that we are going to stop the activity, but activity for whom? That is important. So when we are doing karma, it is activity for our own pleasure. But when you start bhakti, it is anya abhilasita shunya jnana karma di anavruta anukullena krishna anushlanam. So the activity is done for the pleasure of Krishna. And when even if that activity seems to be going to the office, seems to be taking care of our practical things, but it is in the service. Yesterday Maharaj was answering the same thing, that the essence of the situation or the circumstances, that how I can be actually engaged in the service of Krishna, and that we know that there is a karma, vikarma, and akarma. So karma is doing the activity according to the rules and regulations. However, there is a desire to get result, anything out of that for me. A vikarma is that doing against the scripture, and akarma is doing the activity only for the pleasure of Lord Sri Krishna. So that maybe one may be going to these things. Arjun is fighting for that, but he does not. He's fighting. That is the kshatriya duty he's doing. So it's not that we stop our activity, but it is not the activity that matters. It is the intention behind that activity, and that intention is anukullena Krishna anushilana. So one might be taking a food, one might be going to the office, one might be kshatriya, one might be this and that. But what is important is to come to the point where anukullena Krishna anushilana.
Yes, Prabhu. Understood. Thank you.
And bhakti is the only thing that uproots that. And that is what the Padma Purana that you say, that Vishnu Bhakti Ratatma Kramaneva Praliyate. So all these things, which is prarabdha karma, it is actually eradicated. And Rupa Goswami gives so many evidences, Bhagavad Gita 3.25, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25, where it is mentioned that it is only bhakti which has the potency to remove the prarabdha and aprarabdha. So it doesn't mean that we stop doing activity. The proclivity to engage into the activity which is not related to Krishna. Now we understand from Nectar of Devotion, when we do activity, we get the prarabdha karma, but it also creates a prarabdha karma. And what is that a prarabdha karma? Which is not manifested, which will manifest, and which also create inclination to do the same thing again. And that is what Vedic culture says, that do not engage into sinful activity or sensual activity, because it makes one stronger to again engage into the same activity again and again. So this proclivity to do that is actually removed only by bhakti. To reactions can be removed by prayachitta, but the tendency to do that activity is only removed by bhakti. And that is what Nectar of Devotion focuses on, how bhakti surpasses everything. The excellency, super excellency of bhakti is actually iterated by Rupa Goswami, that we all get attracted to the bhakti because bhakti is the ultimate thing. Chandan Prabhu, does that help, Prabhu?
Yes, 100%. Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you, Chandan Prabhu, Yugal Kishore Prabhu. It's already 7:15, but Shamkund Prabhu, you have anything to share? Please, few more minutes we can.
One more like general doubt is there. It will take only answer 1 minute, but I have doubt. Mostly, the devotees say that at the day of Ekadasi, we should we should do more and more japa. We should study Bhagavatam more. We should listen more. But some of the devotees like try to only chant 64 rounds, 128 rounds like that whole day. So instead of doing 64 rounds, can some devotee do rounds 30 to 25 and little bit Shravanam, little bit Bhagavatam study? Which is the best one? Only chanting 64 rounds or doing 32 rounds and Shravanam and Bhagavatam study? Which is the best one?
Hare Krishna, Chandan Prabhu. When Srila Prabhupada, in the 7th canto, I think 5th or 6th chapter, when Prahlad Maharaj respond to his father's things, that what is the duty of that, or what you are doing that? He says that Sravanam, Kirtanam, Navavidha Bhakti, and Prabhupada writes in the purport that any one of them, if one does that, it can actually brings to the perfection. So it is not that chanting or Sravanam or Kirtanam, but Srila Prabhupada has recommended for all of us that one should engage. Now, there is a varieties of things that it is not that one. Prabhupada says that the variety is the mother of enjoyment. It's not that the one person does 64 rounds, that means everybody should do that. It's not necessarily. Where one get inclination to do that, and once one in the initial days, one devotee came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I want to do 64 rounds. Prabhupada said, you are in Maya. Because it is not possible for one to do 64 rounds every single day, or whatever that number of rounds he said. That because, and that is why Prabhupada has very systematically give the different means and ways that one can engage into devotional service. If that is the chanting is the only thing that one is come to that stage, he can do that. But one may have attachment to read Srimad Bhagavatam. One may have do that. And that is why Prabhupada has given, so that ultimately one has to come to Kirtanam all the time. Satatam Kirtayanto Ma. So these all can help us. And by the way, there is nothing that only one is better than the other. Any one of them can actually take us to perfection. However, in the Bhagavad Vidhi, Srila Prabhupada has recommended for all of us to begin with the two things, Sravanam and Kirtanam. So the ultimate, again, the principle of this is also one of the anga of 64 NOD that we are discussing, that it is said the principle is that smartavyam satatam Vishnu. So the ultimate purpose of these all activities, that are we able to remember Vishnu and never forget him. So this is the principle. While Ekadasi is doing that, if I can remember Krishna by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, it's no problem. If 64 rounds can help us to remember Krishna, no problem. So the principle is to remember Krishna and come closer and closer and minimize our other activities. And that is why this upavas is that we don't cook. Of course, I mean, depend upon one's thing, and engage into more and more spiritual activity, direct spiritual activities. Hare Krishna, Chandan Prabhu.
Understood, Prabhu. Understood.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chandan Prabhu. With your questions, we had very nice discussion today. So it's already 7:19. We'll close for the day, and we'll connect tomorrow again. Pancha kalpataru kripasindu bhayacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।